I was the queen of hustling, bustling, and also fighting because I'm an Aries. I was super combative, always ready to make a case or defend myself whenever I felt threatened. And I just lived a life that was a constant uphill battle until I was humbled by life. I got laid off from my job. I had health challenges, and my life was essentially in shambles. And I knew that I had to turn my life around and take things into my hands. Hello, my name is Ashanwa. This channel is dedicated to fashion, style, and wellness. If that sounds like something you're interested in, I encourage you to stick around and subscribe. Today's topic is on feminine mindset I adopt to attract abundance and prosperity and just overall ease into my life. It's really improved my health, my bank account, and my relationships. So if that's something that you're struggling with, this video is for you, and let's get into the first tip. The first tip is embracing worthiness. So, one thing that's important to know is that your worthiness or your sense of self worth is tied to your abundance. When you feel worthy, you are confident to ask for more. You're confident to say no to opportunities and people and experiences that do not meet your standard. And you just generally have a more optimistic outlook on life. There was a time when I didn't feel so worthy and I questioned my self-worth for reasons left known to me. And I'll give a specific example. I was applying for a job and I had been applying for jobs after I had been laid off from my job. And I had been getting rejection after rejection. It got to a point where I got the job or I got an opportunity, and I lowballed myself when they asked me what the salary expectations were. Thankfully, God was on my side and I ended up bouncing back from it because I ended up getting 3 job offers. But the fact that I went in undercutting myself is something that I've promised myself not to do anymore. So when you are worthy, when you see yourself as worthy, and I'm going to go into tips on how you can improve your sense of worthiness, you believe and I feel confident to ask for more and believe that you do deserve more, because again, it all starts in your mind and with your mindset. So how can you work on your worthiness if that's something that you struggle with? I'm happy to do a separate video on feminine worthiness and how you can cultivate that within yourself. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see down in the comment section. But it's by cultivating self-trust, keeping promises to yourself no matter how small, and knowing who you are as a child of God, and really having that relationship with God is super important in understanding your sense of self-worth and worthiness. So that was the first feminine mindset shift, and that was leaning into and recognizing my worthiness. And I just want to say this, your worthiness is not necessarily tied to the external things like your car, your job, your house. It's your innate self-worth. It's your compassion. It's your gentleness. It's your softness. It's the things that make you you, not necessarily the material things that the world has labeled as making you worthy, who God has created you to be as his child and as his daughter and as his bride. The next mindset shift I leaned into is trusting and believing in God as my ultimate helper and divine protector and provider. I know we are in the age where people want to get a provider man to give them a lavish lifestyle, which is all fine and dandy, but at the same time we don't want to make men or man our source, because men are men and they're not perfect. The only person who can fulfill all the needs that we have is God. This requires shifting from a scarcity to an abundant mindset. A scarcity mindset is rooted in competition, lack, feelings of not enough, feeling of running out, while an abundant mindset is rooted in more than enough, overflow, enough to go around, and more. So when you make this shift from a scarcity to an abundant mindset, you know that God has your back. And one of my favorite Bible verses is from Psalm 127 verse 2. It reads, and I have to read it down from my notes, but it says, "It is vain for you to rise early, come home late, and work so hard for your food. Yes, God provides for those who he loves even when they sleep." So when you have this belief and mindset that your needs as a woman are taken care of by God, you have this sense of confidence knowing that no matter what your reality is telling you, God is your source and God is your provider and your protector, and you can rest easy and you can soften and you can trust that life is going to work out in your favor. This was a big one for me because when I lost my job, I didn't know how I was going to pay my rent, how I was going to fend for myself, and things like that. And I also had health challenges as well. So I was dealing with a lot of things at the same time. It really forced me to lean on God as my support system to really pull me through, because there was no way I would have made it out of that situation without God. And that is my testimony. The third feminine mindset I adopted was embracing femininity and flow. So, femininity is essentially the art of receiving, it's the art of flow, it's the art of ease, softness, creativity, slowness, stillness, passiveness, and more. All these traits attract abundance into your life, because if you think about it, to create a business or to create another source of income, it requires you to tap into your creativity, and you can't do that if you're constantly in your masculine energy, if you're in your head thinking about what you have to do next and what task you have to accomplish. How do you tap into feminine flow? A few ways, and I'm happy to do more in-depth videos, are through in-depth self-care routines and rituals, by slowing down, connecting with nature, becoming more receptive, and essentially deepening your relationship with God or whatever higher power you believe in. Additional ways are include resting, prioritizing rest, and prioritizing stillness too. The next feminine mindset I adopted was letting go of control and learning to surrender. I wouldn't really consider myself someone who was a control freak or type A necessarily, but I know when I was when I found myself in a situation like when I lost my job and had health challenges, I had to let go of control and let go of the fact that I did not know where my rent was going to come from and when I would get out of this health challenge that I had. And even when I was applying for jobs and I was back in the job market and I kept getting rejection after rejection, I didn't know when I would land a job. Being attached to outcomes blocks abundance. When you practice the art of detachment, you allow God and the universe create multiple ways in which your desires can be fulfilled. And a lot of times, as I'm sure you're aware of, the things that we do request and call in don't always manifest in the way that we want them to. But if we're stuck on one way, we can miss our blessings, miss the opportunities that come our way. So, what are a few ways that we can practice letting go of control? Number one is surrendering. Is not always feeling the need to be the one planning or having the final say or calling the shots. Letting someone else take the driver's seat once in a while is one way, someone that you trust. And again, it really requires you to have self-trust and trust in God as well for you to really surrender to whether it's your partner or just life in general. You can easily embrace uncertainty when you know God is your ultimate source, your ultimate provider and protector, and has your best interest and is your covering. The fifth feminine mindset I adopted, and this is the last one, to attract abundance, prosperity, and peace into my life is practicing receptivity, the art of receiving. I already touched on this a little bit earlier on, but being able to receive is a very, very feminine trait, not just from men, but women, children, strangers, life, God, and more. When you are able to receive, you're opening pathways for abundance to flow to you. Imagine when you buy a gift for someone and they're always complaining about, oh, the gift is too this, it's too ugly, I don't like it. Do you feel inspired to want to give to them again? Probably not. So when you know and learn how to receive as a woman, that opens up opportunities for you to be blessed, because even in the Bible it says, to whom much is given, more will be given to, and to whom less is given, more will be taken away from. You can practice receptivity by being open, by saying yes to opportunities, experiences that are sent your way. You can practice receptivity by accepting compliments, accepting help when offered, just having an overall growth mindset. Thank you for watching. Those are the 5 mindsets I had to adopt, and I still adopt till today, to attract abundance and prosperity into my life. The first one is embracing worthiness. The second one is trusting God as your divine helper, provider, and protector. The third one is embracing feminine flow. The fourth one is surrendering and letting go of control. And the fifth one is practicing receptivity. Let me know which of these mindsets you're going to be adopting today, which is your favorite one. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Bye.